So right now I'm just doing French press, pretty basic. So sometimes I do this. I do a lot of days just have.
Josh DeFrancis starts his morning with a cup of coffee before getting started with his work as the head of incubation at LG Nova. In his role at the North American Innovation Center for LG Electronics, Josh works with startups to launch new business ventures for LG Electronics, taking the businesses from the seed to fruition, not unlike the process of making coffee. He has an MBA from MIT Sloan School of Management. He previously worked at Mass General Brigham, a Harvard Medical School hospital, CVS Health, and the White House. Across all of his work, he's continued to bridge healthcare with ventures and partnership opportunities.
I have about 4 or 5 meetings this afternoon. So 5 meetings this afternoon. So it's going to be pretty busy, and we're heading over to Palo Alto to meet with one of the companies in our portfolio on the venture side and that we're working with on the LG Nova side. I moved for the job, but I always wanted to live in California for a little bit just to experience it, and Silicon Valley, it's unique, and so I figured it was a good opportunity to also come out and try something new.
With a new job in an unfamiliar place, in the center of innovation, Josh has a daily practice to try to stay ahead of the curve.
I usually run most days in the Presidio, and then I listen to I listen to podcasts. It's a very, it's a famous podcast where he interviews CEOs that have been successful, and you hear about their stories. I think that's interesting. Try to just, learn as much as possible in different areas. So,
what makes Josh so down to earth in his work?
I grew up in Wisconsin, kind of like rural farmland, and I would get up early and we had to go feed the animals and horses before school at 6 a.m. 5 when it's cold. And I don't know, I just always kind of grew up working hard, outdoors, and pretty much almost on a farm, pretty much. I don't just work to work for money. I'm not that motivated by that. I'm really motivated by doing meaningful work, having an impact, learning and growing, and leaving a imprint, hopefully, on the world. That's why I do it personally. We have individuals that work, and myself, we really work to vet those startups, to identify interesting collaboration ideas, to test those collaboration ideas through POCs and pilots, and then ultimately to build out proposals for new businesses in collaboration with the startups, and demos, and ultimately products. Then the goal is to identify these new ventures that are compelling and have potential for LG. One of the things that really resonated with me with LG Nova is the opportunity to get in at the ground floor when it's starting, to help shape the direction and to be part of the team that's really working to build these new businesses, and ultimately to help shape whichever direction we go. And I think that makes it more exciting than if you join after 10 years.
At CES 2024, LG Nova brought along the startups it has been working with to the show. LG Nova and the startups were met with waves of enthusiasm for its idea of deep collaboration to grow business potential.
신사업을 만들어내는 프로세스가 그랜드 챌린지를 통해서 인큐베이션을 통해서 만들어내는 프로세스가 대단히 유니크합니다. 3,000개 이상의 스타트업들이 이 프로세스에 참가하기 위해서 들어왔고, 그래서 일단 들어온 것만으로도 이 스타트업 모으는 플랫폼으로서 역할은 대단한 성공을 한 거예요.
LG Nova gathers interest from startups with the desire to collaborate and brings their capabilities into LG. In partnership with startups, LG works to develop unique new business models tied to LG's brand vision of innovating for a better future.
Our model generally is outside in and collaborative driven. These are new areas, and we have a thesis, but we don't want to come off too strong, and we want to be open to what's out there and the startups and find exciting things, and then work from there and kind of map it to what we're doing.
Digby, a startup invested in and partnered with by LG Nova, is a platform that uses microbiology to treat obesity, diabetes, and digestive diseases. In 2021, LG Nova held its first Grand Challenge, a call for innovative startups to come share their ideas with LG. Digby was one of the 10 finalists.
Came out of the challenge, we had presented a construct, both how Digby can be used in the B2B side of the healthcare in the United States or a direct-to-consumer, both in the United States and globally.
We're well known, healthcare is moving more towards the consumer and more towards the home, and so I think LG can play that role, and some of these companies that we were finding had really innovative technology that we felt we could partner with them and build around that a broader offering.
I think one of the biggest strengths of working with LG Nova is the fact that they have first a focus on healthcare. Number two, they have the ability to scale globally. And the third is they have access to channels and entities that as a small startup would be hard. So I think those are the areas where it brings a very unique opportunity. And it gives credibility to any startup to be associated with a global brand name.
VC는 기존에 있는 스타트업들, 다른 사람들이 만든 스타트업에 투자를 하는 거예요. 결국은 엑시트를 해서 돈을 회수하는 게 목적이고, 결국은 이제 파이낸셜 플레이죠. 돈 버는 목적이고, 저희의 목적은 이게 50년, 100년, 200년이 갈 수 있는 신사업체를 만드는 겁니다. 새로운 LG의 미래의 신사업이 될 수 있는 이제 새로운 신사업체를 만드는 거예요.
We started this year with the two first ones that we're actively working to spin out.
3 years after the program's official launch, LG Nova is in the final process for spin-off of its new ventures, one in clean tech and one in healthcare. Darren Sabo serves as the CEO of the new healthcare spin-off.
The project I'm working on right now is a new healthcare venture that's being spun out by LG Nova. And we're focusing on improving health outcomes and overall cost of care for transitioning patients from the hospital to the home following acute care episode. I have personal experience dealing with the current state of transitional care from hospital to home and back to the hospital and care facility and back to home with my parents. And we're really focusing on cost reduction and outcome improvement for the health systems. And we believe that we could provide more value to the health systems to help them save money. Open up that data room as early as possible, and also, so you're not scrambling at the last minute, pulling together those spreadsheets that we were working on, financial models, and it's figuring out all the little details to making this a freestanding company.
Yeah, I would say legal documentation, funding decisions, and funding. But also the teams are trying to continue to make progress. So you don't want to put progress on hold because...
In joining the new startup, Darren will be leaving behind a stable corporate job. The benefit of this will be that he will be able to move much quicker to grow the business. And LG Nova will continue to be there to support him through the company's growth.
So Nova, in my mind, is very much a clutch between the large organization and the startups to help facilitate forward momentum and motion moving forward. So a lot of the challenges we face are that our processes are set up for a large global entity, not for moving very quickly in the market and putting out new products and services in a very rapid pace. So in order to address needs that we see in the market at this point in time, we need to move much quicker. Therefore, we believe the best way to deliver on that value and capitalize on that opportunity is to take the opportunity outside of the organization, but still maintain that strategic relationship between LG and the new entity.
Getting internal approval for the first spin-off, there were a lot of twists and turns. They had to prove a lot of things in a short amount of time.
Flying out to Seoul with the team for 2 weeks to meet with the C-suite within LG and to meet with all the different teams that are the key decision makers within LG to approve our project and financially supporting and spinning out, he said, "This is an exciting opportunity," stood up, shook our hands, said, "Thank you very much. We're excited to move forward with this." And it was an immense feeling of pride. And just the fact that you don't appreciate, if you haven't been in this space for very long, you may not appreciate how difficult.
One of LG Nova's recent big milestones was the announcement of a strategic collaboration with the state of West Virginia in the U.S.
I think the most success that we've had so far, well, two situations. Finalizing our agreement with West Virginia, we found a strong partner to co-innovate and go to market with. Especially on the healthcare side of things, West Virginia has a number of health challenges within that region. Health equity is very important to us as well, making sure that we're putting out a solution that doesn't just address the needs to an elite minority within the US that can be utilized by often overlooked segments of the population.
In a typical startup, through the incubation phase, which requires rapid validation, it's not easy to build strong partnerships before spinning off.
A number of our colleagues have deep experience working with government entities, so that helps us forge relationships with states and federal governments.
And a lot of us have backgrounds from either building startups or working with startups or mentoring, building businesses inside of large corporates.
I think everyone at Nova has really bought into this vision of our ability to bring really transformative innovations to the market and do it for a company that really wants to innovate and disrupt itself.
가장 어려운 부분은 길이 없다는 게 가장 어려운 부분입니다. 그러니까 이제 웃자고 한 소리인데 사실 그게 그래요. 그러니까 누가 해서 한번 성공을 시켜봤으면은 사실 처음 하는 사람이 힘들지 쫓아가는 거 쉽거든요. 처음 하는 사람 한 10배 이상의 노력이 들어갑니다. 어찌 보면은 처음 하는 사람은 실패도 많이 할 수밖에 없고.
It's always most difficult to be first. Sometimes people say it's first mover advantage. Sometimes it's first mover disadvantage because you don't have a playbook to follow. This is challenging because throughout the process of creating a new venture, you come up with a series of hypotheses. As such, it's a learning process, like not just the product creation, but the actual business creation is a learning experience for us as well. So we are feeling the most pain and the most challenges by being the first. It's always most difficult to be first.
LG Nova is leading a change in how companies and startups innovate and blazing a path forward where no one has gone before.
To pursue an entirely new business venture for a global organization is a very rare situation. And I'm very proud to have delivered on that. And that is definitely a highlight of my career. And the next highlight will be building this successfully.
LG, I think they have a role to play in health, role to play in energy, and transition to the future. That's very important, but I need to have the kind of impact opportunity and feel that we're also making the world a better place, and that's what really excites me, and solving hard problems.
사업은 세상에 많아요. 하지만 다음 세대가 야 세상이 옛날보다 우리 엄마 아빠 때보다 더 좋아졌어 라고 생각하게 할 수 있는 신사업은 세상에 그렇게 많지가 않은 것 같아요. 신사업을 하면서 언제나 가지고 있는 모토가 세상의 그 퀄리티 오브 라이프를 임프루브 해야 된다는 게 제 기본 철학입니다.